This is RIFF Radio, a presentation of RIFF Magazine Online, your source for music news, interviews, reviews from the Bay Area and beyond. Find more at riffmagazine.com. I am Mike DeWald. After a bit of a break, we are back with a new episode, and this week we welcome Chris Daughtry. His namesake band Daughtry just released their latest single, the very aptly named World on Fire. In fact, this interview was actually recorded the morning of the California fires breaking out, so had a chance to talk about that. And the band has embarked on a very unique virtual tour that we'll talk more about. We welcome in Chris Daughtry. Chris, thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've all pretty much been in the same boat here for the past few months. How have you been handling quarantine life? What's it been like for Chris Daughtry?
It's good now, man. It was, the first few weeks was a little daunting. Not really sure what was going to happen, and we had a whole year of touring lined up that all kind of got shit canned, and we were just like, I don't know what's going to happen. And there was a moment where it was like, I just didn't know what to do with myself. Felt like I was having a bit of an identity crisis. I didn't realize how much of my identity was wrapped up in being on stage and being on the road. And I haven't been home this long in 14 years. So it took it definitely took some adapting, but everything's great, man. I'm getting to spend more time with my wife and my kids, and we have chickens now. We have a garden, catching up on projects around the house. And of course, now we're doing the virtual tour. So that's been great. We've done 3 shows so far, and they've all went really well. It's a lot of fun, super loose, just me and my guitar player. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've been fascinated. I've asked a number of musicians kind of how they've been doing, and the answer that's kind of interested me the most is a lot of them found almost kind of a silver lining in that they got stuck in this cycle of, write, record, release tour without ever really tapping the brake. And when everything kind of came to a pause, it sort of gave this moment to like stop and reset. Was that something you found also, that you kind of had to kind of stop and smell the roses moment?
Absolutely. We were pretty deep into making the record. We started back in October, and we were plowing all the way through January and even February. And then, the brakes got pumped on that, but we had some serious momentum going. We actually wrote World on Fire back in January when, Australia was burning, speaking of fires. And, of course there was no shortage of racial injustice or police brutality even then, but so that all kind of made it into the lyrics. We had no idea what we were writing about at the time, really. And then the pandemic hits, and we were just like, whoa, this is like verbatim of what's going on right now. And
right.
The fact that we were able to tap into that was pretty crazy. So when everything kind of got shut down, I kind of stopped. I didn't really, I guess I was using it more as a incubation period and letting everything kind of marinate, because I didn't really feel inspired to write. There was a lot of uncertainty, a lot of, just all new territory for everyone. And I didn't know if I was even gonna be on the road anymore. So it was such a weird feeling of not knowing what was coming next. So I'm fine. I'm just now getting back into the rhythm of writing ideas down, and still not really fully motivated to write songs, but we're getting some lyrical ammunition going for when this virtual tour is over. We'll be getting back in the studio and finishing the record.
Cool. Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, there's so many things individually that I assume you could kind of draw from for writing and lyrics, but when they all sort of overlap over each other, I'm sure it gets a little bit overwhelming to where you're just like, this is too much going on.
Yeah, I think it's great to pump the brakes sometimes, especially creatively, because you get caught up in your own sauce, you know what I mean? And you start to either write the same thing over and over, or in just different variations, or you just feel like you're having to write something and you're not really coming from a place of inspiration. So I think this has been really good for my soul, just to kind of step away from it all and really just figure out things about myself, figure out things about my relationship with my family, and that's all been really, really cathartic. So in a way, this has been like some of the best time I've had in a while.
Now, you mentioned the Live from Home tour. It's such a cool concept. And also, it goes to a great cause in helping some of these local venues that are also feeling the strain. How did that idea develop?
Kind of out of boredom. Like, we knew we couldn't tour, but we wanted to perform. We wanted to connect with the fans and feel engaged. And we didn't want them to think we forgot about them. So we were like, well, what if we did a tour, because we could do a show online and just stream it and everybody gets to see it. But we were like, what if we did it like we're going from city to city, but we're in the same place, And then my manager was like, it'd be cool if we could get these smaller venues to partner with us. And I was like, how do we do that? And so he figured all that out. But I thought it was a great idea because we know how important these venues are to the community, to artists like myself. And without those places, we really don't have any place to play. So the 10% of the profits goes toward the venues. And of course, the more tips people give, the more help we're able to give to these venues. And it's worked out really great so far. And the fans have loved it. And the meet and greets are more like this. So it's actually in a way better than our traditional meet and greets, where they're getting kind of ushered in 30 seconds and take a picture and they're gone. And they're like, but wait, I forgot to tell you about my, and this is more, we're shooting the shit. We're hanging out, and they're able to tell me stories of, or of what's going on in their day. And it's a really cool, probably the most engaging thing we've ever done with our fans ever, at least for me.
That's very cool. Now, a lot of these venues, are these ones that you've kind of played along the way of, the experiences kind of throughout the years of Daughtry?
Yeah, a lot of these venues we played on our first tour back in 07, 08, and it's really cool to kind of reconnect. Now,
on the musical aspect, is it also fun to kind of have that low-key element where you can mix in, if you want to mix in a cover or a deep cut or whatever you're feeling that day, just not really have a structure you have to follow, and just like, we're going to play this today.
We've been doing deep cuts. We've been doing covers. It's fun to be loose like that, but it's also, in between songs, it's crickets. You hear us over there go bang, tuning our guitar, and stuff that they don't really get to see during a live show because we have people doing that. But it's raw, and they're seeing us flub ups and all. I've hit the wrong chord many times already, but it's it's authentic as it can get.
Now, you mentioned World on Fire. The song just came out. Just a really, really great song.
Thank you so much.
You said that was actually written, you said, before quarantine, and really digs into more of your kind of rock and roll side. Was that something you wanted to kind of lean into for this song?
100% for this record.
Oh.
This has been the record that I've wanted to make for years. And I won't point the fingers or throw anybody under the bus, but I feel like I'm in a place now where I'm able to be that. I'm able to really explore that side again. And, we were exploring different styles in previous albums. And part of that was, trying to keep up with what's on the radio and, like thinking you had to change with the times. And, there was always a part of me going, man, are we doing the right thing here? And Cage to Rattle was a record that was kind of us getting back to those rock roots. And I'm on an indie label now, so I have full control over what I put out. And that's a very liberating thing.
Now, stylistically, I mean, you've covered a lot of ground over, the band's covered a lot of ground over Daughtry's career. I mean, when you're writing a song...
And by no means am I shitting on those records.
Oh, not at all.
I'm very proud of those records and really happy with some of the stuff that came out of that. But I feel more at home with this with this side of things.
I was going to say, when you're writing a song, do you know where it's going from the start, or do you, as you're writing it, do you say, oh, this has more of kind of a country feel to it, or a rock feel, or how does that kind of manifest?
Yeah, sometimes the song kind of dictates the production, and then sometimes the production dictates the lyric. In this case, Scott Stevens, our producer, producers on this record, Marty Fredrickson and Scott Stevens. I've written so many songs with these guys, and I'm so happy they're producing this record because I feel like they get me more than anybody out there. And I remember we were going through some song ideas that Scott had just laid down like 30 seconds of a riff here and there, and we were just kind of going through and seeing which ones struck me, or which ones like inspired a melody or felt fresh. And I remember him scrolling down, and I said, "What's that one?" It was labeled "Fresh as Fuck." And I was like, and he clicked on it, and it was the opening riff to that. And I was like, "What is that?" And we just started digging in, and it had this like kind of post-apocalyptic vibe, and it just, I was talking about Australia, the fires, and I'm like, man, the whole world's on fire right now. And we were like, dude, that's the name of the song, that's the title, let's write that. So the title actually came before we wrote any other lyrics. We just knew it was going to be called World on Fire, and so that was one of those things that if we would have tried to write something about something specific, I'm not sure it would have worked out as well. But we were just kind of taking things that we were hearing in the news and just like, what's going on? What are the things that's like really affecting us and making us feel like frustrated? And let's put it all on paper. And that's how it all worked out.
And now, having the shutdown, kind of dealing with that, does that sort of basically stop a process of recording an album? It's not really conducive to getting an album recorded, I assume?
Yes and no. We had actually had World on Fire done as far as my parts and a skeleton of the music. We hadn't had the band on it yet. And so we knew it was going to be the first single, and we were like, we got to figure this out because, we all can't get in the studio. So they all did their parts at home in their respective spaces and sent them all in, and it worked out. So we may be doing a little bit more of that. I would love for us to all get back in the studio, just because there's such a camaraderie there, and the creative flow just feels inspiring when you're all together and you're all like, yeah, that's great, or no, play this, or that's always fun. But this worked out great, and of course, if we have to do that to finish the record, we will. But I would much prefer being in the studio with the guys.
Nice. Now, I had read that you might have a little collaboration with Tommy Vex from Bad Wolves. Is that something that would be on a Daughtry record, or? Well, I think he already announced it. We did a cover, and that's their project. So I don't know when that's coming out, but and I think it's public knowledge now, so I can say it. But we did a cover of Hunger Strike.
Oh wow!
So I did the Cornell stuff. And he did the better stuff. It was a lot of fun.
Very, very cool.
I can't wait for people to hear it because it's so good. It turned out so good. So I don't know. That's a Tommy question though. I got to ask him when it's coming out. I love that guy.
Now, during the quarantine time, as far as non-music stuff, anything that you've found, anything you've dug into that new hobbies you didn't know you liked, or how have you kind of passed the time?
Yeah, this right here, this Lego Batmobile that I did. I've never done, other than like playing around with my kids on their Legos, I've never actually done a full project. And that was like 3,300 pieces. And it was so much fun. It was addicting. I might have to add another one to the collection at some point, but
not even gonna lie.
I did that right after the first 2 weeks. I'm like, all right, we're going to be in quarantine for a couple weeks. This will pass the time. Months later, I'm done with that. I'm like, we're still in this. What am I going to do now? But yeah, I've been catching up on TV show. We just finished Umbrella Academy last night. That was excellent.
Nice.
But
now,
no new hobbies other than raising chickens and working in the garden. And well, my wife's really working in the garden. I'm cleaning stuff here and there.
Moral support. Now, and on top of everything,
she's a better gardener than I am.
On top of everything, you also launched a new beer. How did that come about?
It was great. I think they approached us, and they worked with other artists and team up, and we had talked about doing a beer or some sort of drink of our own for a while, and they kind of approached us. They're I think they're local out here in Nashville, and it was I tasted a bunch of different beers, and I was like, that one tastes good to me. I'm not a big beer connoisseur. I know when I like it, and I know when I don't. And so it just it to me, that one was like the most fitting for the name of the beer. It was a September ale, so it felt very fall.
Right, exactly. Now, looking ahead, I mean, once we eventually get closer to normal, have you given any thought to what a concert looks like in a year, in 15 months?
It's changing all the time. I'm leaving it up to my agents and manager to like let me know when things are, back to being able to go out on the road. But as of right now, it's definitely looking like next year.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, awesome. Chris Daughtry, World on Fire. Check out the new song.
Thank you so much.
And
so good to talk to you.
Lots on the way. Appreciate the time.
Absolutely. And there's more coming. Be well,
awesome.
My friend.
Our thanks to Chris Daughtry for joining us on RIFF Radio. Remember, the band will be on virtual tour, one of those shows benefiting the Great American Music Hall in San Francisco. The new single, World on Fire, find it at DaughtryOfficial.com. I am Mike DeWald. We'll catch you next time on RIFF Radio.
Took a beating. Takes more than a building on the feeling. Bang, bang, no mercy for the healing.